I got the bug. You're listening to the Memoriam always. It's 10 p.m. I'm putting out another video, but I got the bug for Classic Mania. I really want to play Classic Mania. Why won't you let me play Classic Mania? I haven't really been on my shit. I've been dabbling with 3 very, passively. But I was rewatching the footage, editing my little video, and I saw the Richter bit from Soen, and I'm like, oh my god, I wish that was me right now. And I've just decided I have to do a little Let's Play thing, just some Malways slap for you. Making this extra goofy, I might go on a rant, a framed narrative. I might spend the whole time telling stories as a framed narrative inside, kind of venting my frustration about something. So get ready for that. Get ready for that. I'm just goofing. What are we just goofing? Let me do my mellow. That way I can re-get my mellow passwords. I have to go on a rant about Pathfinder and about the world that my friend Hunter, hello Hunter, if you happen to click on this, you might be very surprised right now. I don't think you watch Malways stuff. I don't imagine you do. So Hunter, he hangs out on the stream sometimes. He's an IRL friend from, look at the Rocky Rock. I don't really have time to take in the atmosphere. It's not Symphony of the Night anymore. Yeah, Hunter has been a total star bringing together the community of people I live near here, where I'm in the middle of fucking nowhere in Japan. But turns out in Japan, no matter where you are, if you go through the right channels, there's gonna be some fuck-ass foreigners who probably love anime who are out there on a teaching for Japan kind of program, or just teaching English generally. There is compulsory English education. There is compulsory education, and in that compulsory education there is English requirements. So there is just a need for native speakers of English everywhere, and if going to Japan aligns with you for some reason, either because you fucking love anime or because you are trying to learn the language like me. Of course, I'm learning the language professionally because I love anime, but I'm not going to admit that. Anyhow, there is a community of foreigners out here, and we are all brought together by our job. And we come from, all over, mostly America, but all over America at least. And something that has brought us together for all these years I've been here is tabletop role-playing games. We're all at least a little bit nerdy, but most of us, frankly, had no experience with TTRPG. But Hunter has been such a great DM, and he's gotten people like me from either one session or no sessions all the way into kind of knowing their shit, frankly. And last year, we had an awesome mini campaign with, frankly, some of the best friends I've made out here. A bunch of English teachers, and we would get together, and I joined this campaign late. This went on to be a very destined campaign that all of us say is one of our favorite things we've ever done with Hunter, with Pathfinder, because I think all of us, or almost all of us, were completely new to the game. And anyhow, this was a wonderful memory that I'm going to talk about. There's a tragic ending here, very tragic, but it is a rich story I must tell. So anyhow, we had a campaign last year. We put our love into it. Again, I showed up late, but when I did show up, because I wanted to hang out with these people, I actually met a friend through this. One of them I didn't really know. I came with a character that I shat out my ass. I missed the first 2 sessions. And then for the third one, I'm like, I'm not going to go. I don't have any inspiration for my character. And then I started playing Bloodstained Curse of the Moon too, and it really, really got to me. Maybe it's because the year started with Castlevania Nocturne Season 2 and Portrait of Ruin, and I was ready to call last year Castlevania's greatest year until it kind of fell off at the end. It still was just a wonderful year for Castlevania for me. Anyhow, it's June 2025, and I am pumped about Classic Mania. So I have this idea, I won't go too far into it, but basically, I combine combine the character traits of a Project Sekai gacha character named Emu Otori, who is like a happy-go-lucky rich girl who basically lives at Disney World because her parents own, or there's this rich-ass family that owns Disney World, basically. And she's this crazy, like, littlest sibling of the family who embodies, like, this kind of childish joy and, like, crazy, like, unstoppable, like, wonder and stuff like that. And I decided, what if I take this weird, funny acrobat girl, this circus freak, and I give her a Belmont's backstory? What if I take her and send her into just like the worst life possible, where she just like grew up in some awful dark fantasy fuck-ass wherever and had to learn how to like fight monsters to make her living, and she's like super grizzled now. I'm like, what if I took Emu and gave her a Belmont life? So I made Emu Belmont, and I just totally whipped out of my ass the concept of Lucky Clover. Her thing was that even though the story takes place in the River Kingdoms, which is, I think, like a pre-established thing that all Pathfinders, we play Pathfinder 2nd edition, I think in the Pathfinder universe that people use, the River Kingdoms is like already a thing, but there wasn't like a proper campaign for it yet. The River Kingdoms is like a fuck-ass hellhole where it's like basically lawless anarchy in the bad way. It's just people can't come together. It's just nothing but like fighting, robbery, murder, just all this gritty shit basically. And Hunter wanted us to respect it and make kind of like a more like grim, dark, like serious set of characters to go with it. And of course, I wanted to play with that, so I took a fun kind of airhead, happy-go-lucky character like I like to play, and I gave her the grit. You know, I'm like, so okay, why is she so happy-go-lucky or whatever? Like, well, she's not happy-go-lucky. She's a little bit airheaded, but she's a little bit goofy. The thing is, she was orphaned, and she was Lucky Clover because if you think about, you know, every year, 99% of lost kids with no parents in this fuck-ass country die. Then, you know, you multiply that every year. But what if there was one kid who just kept surviving? Like, what if there was just one kid who kept surviving? Like, what if she just kept getting to situations where she should have died, but she didn't? And this character has become my favorite OC of all time. After this campaign story, I have made my own universe where I can just tell her stories, and I've brought her into the channel before. I don't know how much I will going forward, but I'm always thinking about Clover now and that world that was inspired by the River Kingdoms. To me, the River Kingdom stuff is just the River Kingdom stuff. It just doesn't have the same laws of the universe that I need for my Clover stories anymore. So she has graduated, but I still care about this River Kingdom campaign we did quite a lot, and I will tell you the story of it for a reason. Because this year, last year we had this small group, we were told, you know, make a kind of gritty, serious set of characters. We're going to go on an adventure. And that's where Clover got her start, and my 3 friends made their characters. And we had a wonderful adventure. And then this year, now Hunter has decided as his final thing before he leaves Japan, he wants to work more on the River Kingdoms because he is writing his own campaign. This is all original stuff using the River Kingdoms. I love this fight. It's super goofy looking. I love it. He is testing now with everybody. It's like an open beta. Anyone who wants to play, and we have a lot of players right now. Anybody can come and do installments that will be canon, this is important, to his River Kingdoms. He's testing out side quests and stuff. Last year we did a full chapter of the serious story. Now we're doing just random side quest bullshit with whoever wants to join in. I even added a story to this. I helped DM. I wrote a whole story. Very goofy compared to last year, and that's important. However, our characters from last year, their stories are still continuing. We had a happy adventure with some grimness and stuff, and I'll tell that story, but the characters are still alive. Why am I rambling and setting all this context? Well, Clover's friend, Nova, my friend Anne's character from the good campaign last year, fucking died. Because, and I would never, if Hunter hears this, that's fine. I gotta get it out somehow. I would never complain about this to my friend's face. I do not want him to feel like discouraged. I will make it clear, and I have made it clear that I'm heartbroken. Clover is fine, but Anne brought back her character Nova for a campaign, and we almost played together. We were supposed to play together and do Clover and Nova, their first time hanging out again since the big story last year. We were supposed to hang out this Tuesday and do it, and we both found out we had prior obligations that popped up that we didn't know we had, or something like that. Work needed us that night. Both of us had work obligations that night, so we had to move. I ended up canceling. Clover's not appearing in this chapter, which is good. Anne moved to a fateful Thursday night session with a new player whose name I will not name, and he's never played before, and I'm honestly very happy that he took an interest and tried. His only goal was to get in and cast the meme spell Fireball, which is the big killer fireball spell that like destroys everything around you that wizards will cast because it's very strong, and then possibly kill all their party members because it's just fucking huge. And you might be thinking, oh, well, what an uninteresting story. This new player came in, threw his fireball down, and killed Anne's character Nova, who I love very much and had a great heart-tugging, sober story. No, that's what's almost happened to me a couple times. I get lit on fire quite often. What happened was they were doing some manner of mission and they had to fight some goons. And he said today when we talked about it that he didn't understand this, but he threw a fireball into a crowd of civilians, which is bad, very bad. He didn't know that there were children in the crowd. So this meme character, that's an adorable frog. This game actually fucks. I was wrong all along. That's a really good frog. Look at his beady little eyes. He throws a fireball into a crowd of people, and there are children. And they are incinerated. He commits a war crime. This group of ne'er-do-wells or whatever, rough bastards from the River Kingdoms, got together to do a mission. They were just doing contracts, bounty hunters basically. They're doing this mission. The bad guys are like maybe chaotic good, Hunter said, and maybe they were just getting a bit out of line. The bad guys see these complete chaotic murder hobos show up, chuck a fireball into a crowd. I think kill a child. I think some children were incinerated. And the story goes off the rails in a way that I have not seen any of Hunter's stories go off the rails. Nova, I really have to give her credit. Nova was the straight man, well, one of the straight men, I suppose, in our group last year. She was an honorable paladin who lived at this fort called Liberthane. Liberthane was one of the only places trying to get a semblance of order in the kingdoms. Of course, we love anarchy here, but this anarchy is very messy, and having some place where there is some semblance of like community and respect and, I don't know, law and order was a very positive thing. We were on Team Liberthane. My character was kind of dragged into Liberthane because she got caught committing a act of apple thievery, but well, that's not important. Everybody else was pretty, well, okay, maybe not everybody else was as normal, but Nova was a very normal character. She was just a girl who wanted to be a strong knight and defend her town. And we had numerous genuine heart-wrenching, like tear-jerking moments of like talking to her family who did not want her to go on a dangerous quest because it's a dangerous world, and their daughter who wanted to become a knight and be our paladin and protect us with a sword and shield was frankly in a lot of danger doing this. A lot of danger, maybe more danger than she was fine during our adventure. Clover was the only character that had a run-in with death, but we had a lot of adventures. Nova, oh my god, we saw her like say goodbye to her family, and just, oh my god, they gave her like little mementos, and it's like, you're gonna come home, right? Yeah, I'm gonna come home. And we got through the whole fucking adventure. We got her home to her worried family, and it was great. And she was, oh, that sucked. She was on her way to a very nice life as a nice warrior of Liberthane. And her career ended because she signed up for this fuck-ass job where these meme characters who were just goofing off killed a group of children. And honest, so beautifully sticking to her character to the very end, Anne said, Nova, who's a defender of the weak, Nova, who is just a good, lawful, like well-meaning person, if this was Fire Emblem, she just turned red. She's joining the enemies. She turned on the players because the players became fucking evil. So, you know, every character, even the bad guys are like, whoa, we weren't gonna kill children. We were just being some brigands or whatever. Anne joins these characters with Nova and stands against the player party. She takes a stand for what's fucking right after being singed by a fireball and having her Joker moment. She sent a picture to Hunter of like Nova with like the burn scars, like her like snapping and like having her final stand, like the last moment of Nova. She turned against all the people she was on the call with, everybody involved. I'm going to do what I have to do. And I think she just joins the fight. And in the end, it was so bloody and there was so much friendly fire that both the people who were being like kind of incendiary, like goofballs, fucking died. Those characters are dead. They're the first deaths we've had in this whole like Pathfinder, River Kingdoms Renaissance thing that Hunter's been running. They just fucking died. But Nova died too. And honestly, I'm not that mad. I'm not that mad. But it's such a funny feeling. I have to capture it. I have to just babble about this for you right now while I'm playing Castlevania. It's just so funny. We loved Nova so much. She was such a good fellow. And I want to just kind of like recount stories of Liberthane and the good times like in her honor, in memory of Nova, and just one of the best campaigns you've ever done. So my character Clover, as I said, she was just like an orphan, just kind of like fucking around. She basically grew up in the woods. She was just kind of raised by whatever. She would get taken in by orphanages and shit like that, and then they'd all get raided because people run around and raid orphanages and just slaughter each other in this world, and it's not great, but she would always survive. She would always survive. That's just kind of her thing. And yeah, I take that pretty seriously. She just got lucky enough to get strong and tough, and as she became a young adult, she became pretty friggin' strong. She's a thief. She's very nimble, and because she grew up like getting into apple trees and shit in order to get fruit and eat it, because you know you're a baby. There's nobody raising you. You just have to learn like, oh, the colorful thing in the tree is what I need. So she became a very good climber, and this got her into a lot of trouble because one of the only rules in Liberthane is you can mug people, but you can't rob them. Like if you're gonna steal from somebody, give them a fighting chance to fight back. It's basically the rule. She did not do that. She was raised by, she wasn't even raised by a family. She was just kind of goofing off, doing whatever she needed to do to have food in her belly as a strange orphan. So one day she finds the Fort Liberthane, a pretty upstanding place, as I mentioned. There's codes of honor, laws, lots of stuff that does not generally exist in the River Kingdoms. It's good shit. How do I use my sub-weapon? Where's my sub-weapon? What do I press? Oh, no, I needed the cross. I wanted the cross. Why can't I? My sub-weapon's not coming out. Do I press R? I haven't thrown any sub-weapons this whole night because I forgot you have to press R. She gets caught because she is in the apple barn or the apple shed or whatever. She has learned that there is this huge shed full of apples at the fortress, and of course she is like, I don't know, early 20s or whatever now, but she still has some elements of the mind of an elementary schooler. Still has not been very socialized, and there's apples, so she's been stealing the apples, and she gets caught in the apple shed. And it's like, well, we kind of want to fucking kill you for doing that, but maybe we can make it up by having you work in the kitchen. So she, against her will, is stuck in this goody two-shoes fortress, having to be a assistant chef, which is not fun. Though the cook is stern, but kind of sweet to her, I suppose. But she lives with the cook. She's like, meh, hasn't really been accepted yet. But this opportunity comes up where, like, Daddy Liberthane or whoever, I missed the first couple sessions, so I was missing some world building. There's like this mission they need people to do, so they look for some young fighters in the fortress, and the ones who they find are Talvin from like the Night Watch. This is my friend Maddie's character. She has kind of not disowned Talvin, but she is not interested in bringing him back for the River Kingdoms goofy ass revival, because I think she didn't super enjoy playing the Edgelord. He was just this edgy elf with a very serious backstory who would like brood and play the straight man to our nonsense and use his bow. And we almost got him killed once because there was a barn and they were like, there's a fucking snake in that barn. And Clover's like, I got this. And I climbed in the roof and I hopped in and I'm like, all right, sweet. and start doing my Belmont shit. So I'm like throwing my sub weapons and my axes and my knives and shit. She just had so many weapons. The bit of her having so many fucking weapons, like a klepto who just grabs whatever she can, has become like an essential part of her character. So she's like throwing her Belmont sub weapons basically from the roof, and we're all fighting, shooting arrows, but our archer gets bit by the snake, and snakes are poisonous, and we all learn how poison works, because Talvin from a fucking barn snake, don't play with barn snakes, kids, gets such bad poisoning, and we treat it so poorly. Us as players just didn't know how to treat the illness. We made it worse, and he actually entered a coma and had like a tragic like dream about like the day that he left the forest and went off into elf adulthood, and the elders like sent him off and did this whole ritual where it's like, you could never return to the realm of elves. I know, brother, I chose this life for myself, and it's all this like serious shit. Yeah. So Talvin is that kind of character, and he almost got done in by a fucking snake in the barn. Like, oh shit, get the shovel, hun. Like, there's a fucking snake in the barn. It's the stupidest shit ever. But yeah, it's one of my favorite Talvin memories, is that he almost fucking died in a barn. But yeah, Nova generally would protect us from things like that, but there's no stopping the snake. Then my friend Tara made a very interesting character named Niva, where I guess like Nova and Talvin were both very straight-laced, like the dark kind of serious fantasy that Hunter wanted. Me and Tara were like, this seems like a weird world where we could make kind of weirdo traveling characters that have been shaped into odd ways. And Niva was this very charming, was she like a dancer? I think she was our bard. She was like an artist. She played the music and shit, and she was kind of seductive, like fun kind of character, very mysterious, very like always lying and speaking in riddles and that kind of thing. She was quite a lot of fun. She had some kind of contract. There was a lot of political intrigue there, like, the caravan you're from, we have a contract. And then we came back later and it was like, the contract was not real. It's like, yes, I lied about the contract. It's like, oh my god, she lied about the contract, as if I even knew what the contract was in the first place. I'm playing the apple eating character. I can't keep track of the contract, but she might have been like a bard thief. I was like a bard who was built to, fuck shit up with my whip and my axes, and also a very nimble bard. I think I was a swashbuckling, so not bard, a thief, rogue or whatever. I think I was a swashbuckling rogue. I wanted to be nimble and tough and that kind of shit. She was a very like bardy rogue, where she could lockpick and stuff and do a lot of Clover stuff, because she was an orphan. She ran away from her caravan at like 12 or something like that, which is pretty old compared to Clover, who was orphaned at like 4, but still, yeah, like a very some like self-made orphan type of character. We had the same idea basically in a lot of ways, but she was way more interesting in a lot of ways. Like Clover was like fun slapstick, like he's kind of a cartoon character to me. Niva had like lore, and it came out that she had a backstory, a real backstory element none of us fucking knew, where in our greatest battle with our backs against the wall, there is someone who has been hunting these kitsune people, these like fox people, and he has this sword, I think, and Niva sees the sword and she's like, I'm gonna fucking kill you right now, because that sword was her brother's sword or something like that. Like this guy, it was revealed, it's like a classic like Disney animated movie plot. Like, no, the poacher, the poaching genocide man. Oh no, we have the princess of nature and the poaching genocide man. How evil. I love this game. I've just been goofing and doing whatever and taking it easy, and the colors are so pretty behind me. This has been fucking awesome. I'm like right back in the zone like last summer. Oh no, I probably lost the level. What do I have? One more life. Yeah, so Niva sees this dude and his sword, and this like special sword from like her people. She's like, it's fucking over. And he's like, I'm gonna kill you. And then she reveals her ultimate transformation after Clover's whole thing, which I've talked about before. Clover had a whole thing happen during this mission. In the final battle, as I'm throwing my axes and jumping and whipping and shit, she straight up turns into a fox. She straight up turns into a magical kitsune. We had no idea. I had no idea. And oh my god, I forgot, Hunter had fox ears. He had fox ears that she put on. She whips out the fox ears in our last session and goes full Naruto mode. And is like, you thought you killed the last of us, but you didn't. And it was so fun and epic. And yeah. I think for some reason that like gave up the ghost as to the fact that like her backstory was a lie. We came back and it's like the contract was not real, but you're welcome to stay with us if you please. And it was kind of a happy ending like that. Naiva again was very, sorry, not Naiva, Nova. Nova was, that guy was not having it. He said, nuh-uh. Nuh-uh. Oh, yeah, Nova was the straight man. Nova was the one who had to ask her parents permission to leave while the rest of us were being fucking crazy. She genuinely was the straight man. Like, I can't think of a lot of moments like she did something funny besides like laugh at or, you know, point at the insanity of what the other characters were doing. We had our serious ones to balance out Naiva and Clover, but my favorite thing was Grand Theft Nova or whatever, where we were the big battle that I was talking about where Naiva turned into a kitsune and Clover had shit happen. We found something. The mission we had to do was deal with a weird camp that popped up in the middle of an elven forest. And this elven forest was like exclusive shit. They did not let people in. We had to go through like this checkpoint, and there was like this super serious elf king. And I had a lot of funny comic bits where it was like, "Ah, yes, my lord, I am very good at parlaying information. Also, I know how to read. Do you have any fine apple juice you could brew with us this evening?" Like, it's like unsocialized Clover trying to be suave with the serious, gritty, like elf king treachery. Like, my advisor is a snake and all this bullshit. Like, all this serious stuff the other people are taking like more seriously, and that guy does not fuck around. I'm just goofing basically. Oh, those levels are connected. Okay, that's fine. Anyhow, we make our way into the forest, plenty of shit happens, and we get to a clearing, and this is where the bad guys are. The bad guys are cutting down trees in the magical forest, and we gotta deal with the magical tree forest cutters, basically. It turns out these are slavers. These are people kidnapping other people and using them to cut down the forest for some purpose. It's so sinister, so evil and bad. And we make our way in there, and it's very dangerous, and we think that we're sneaking in from this giant, very obvious clearing. And then we get fucking surrounded. And we did not handle this very well. Hunter said we could have snuck in properly. I mean, we had two freaking rogues, so I'd like to think. But instead, we had all the archers drawn on us, and Nova was the only one who stayed behind. So three of us, Talvin, Naiva, and Clover, are just caught out in the middle, and they do not see Nova. And Hunter made them sound like they were going to kill us. I think because we didn't know we were running into like the faction of bad guys that run his entire like 9-chapter campaign, of which we played 1 chapter. They were supposed to be very scary, possibly more on that later. And I didn't really get it, but it was like, okay, these guys are probably going to kill us. So we surrendered once we were surrounded by archers. We didn't try to do much. And we basically said, okay, Nova, it's your turn to break us out. So we get taken in to be turned into slaves by these fuckers. And the scary-ass violin man comes to be fucking scary violin man. More on that later. And Nova, who is just like this like shy rookie, has to figure out how to save us. And it was just this constant tension of the grittiest shit possible happening inside as this guy is like, I'm gonna kill Naiva, like, bah, 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 bah. And Nova is outside like, oh, what do I do? Hiding behind a tree. I think we befriended a bunch of orcs. She ended up running into a bunch of allies came in to save us, basically, like the Eagles, and it became a huge fight in the slavers' yard. And we learned somebody made like a lore check and realized that but I guess before we learned that we were fighting some kind of minor deity, basically. The bad guy was some kind of minor deity. And because of that, things relating to that deity could help us in the fight. And we learned that because this guy's like a slaver, the concept of freedom made him weaker. So in the slave yard, we like freed all the slaves in order to give him debuffs or something like that. It was just chaos and there were people everywhere. But part of that is the people who Nova found to save us were a family of orc brothers that Hunter brings to numerous different sessions. And we met them in a tavern. We were just kind of hanging out in the Elf Kingdom because they were also kind of here to deal with the slavers. And the thing with them is there's one dad. He's this orc guy who's a musician and travels around the world and frankly just keeps having random kids with random one-night stands. But all of his sons, I think they're all men. I think all of his sons, all these orcs of different like races, from the different kinds of people that their dad has slept with, they all kind of grow up and end up finding their way to him. So it's like 9 different orc bards and they're all traveling together with their dad. And they're tough warriors, and they're also musicians. And I think they do Mongolian throat singing. He always plays Mongolian throat singing when they show up. I've seen them a couple times, and every single one of them has their own voice, like the 7 dwarves or whatever. But this is the 9 orcs, the 9 Mongolian throat singing battle orcs, essentially. And them and their dad show up. And anyhow, we got in their good books, so Nova just had a long sequence of having to sit outside and wait for backup to come. And then it ends with her and some other, all the orcs show up. They show up at the forest edge and come to save us. And then there's like some fuck-ass guys. They were just like some normal soldiers who were just making their way through, and I feel like they just wanted to go on with their day, but they ran into Nova and she's like, hey, I need help. And it's like, all right, we got you. And like 2 of them came in and fought, or maybe they all did, and then one of them got like grievously wounded, and Nova was like, I'm so sorry for your loss. Like, he was the bravest man. It's like, yeah, I know. We're just happy we made it out of the forest. It was just this crazy thing. I think that guy was the only casualty. But yeah, there's a point where Nova comes in with shield drawn, full paladin mode, and our champion maybe in Pathfinder, thinking of Dragon Quest IX over here. And these normal ass guys, just these Joe Pathfinder type characters, come in behind her, and they just break down into the slavers' yard once they see us starting the fight inside. I won't regale you with the story of the violin man and the day that Lucky Clover died, but I undied, and I joined the fight, and we all gave it a good what for. We saved the day, we went home, and yeah. Despite the fact that Talvin being the very gritty straight man elf that spends all night watching the wall, essentially, of the fortress and being serious, despite the fact that he never liked the chaotic, weird, pink-haired girl, why the hell is her hair pink, who lives in the kitchen, who was caught stealing that one time, everybody kind of became like reluctant buddies, and like buddy cop kind of thing, and at the end they're all friends. And one of my favorite parts of the ending is Clover used to just kind of hop up on the roof of Liberthane and run around, and I guess not Naruto run, but she was just goofing off, basically, doing her shit. And Talvin would be like up at 3 a.m. drinking elf coffee with his bow drawn, ready to kill or be killed, essentially, as the guard would do. And he just kind of sees her doing that, and it's like, ugh, I hate it when she does that. But after going through the ordeals of fighting with these great 3 friends from Liberthane and fucking dying, and then coming back to life, she was much more serious and committed to being a part of the community. So the story ends with Talvin is on watch, everyone's sleeping, and Clover pops up at the crack of dawn. She climbs up and she pulls a little telescope. She finds her own perch, and without saying anything, on a separate part of the wall, she helps watch. She helps protect the fortress in her own goofy, kind of spastic way. But yeah, Nova fucking died because of a meme character. And the thing with Clover is she obviously outlives people a lot, and this is something that I've written short stories about in my own world, where like the real Clover exists, I suppose. Ow! This is becoming very non-canon now. Having to outlive people all the time is a lot, you know? Always surviving and watching people die kind of takes a toll on you as funny goofy as you kind of are as a character. Jesus, as funny goofy as you kind of are as a character. So I've been writing this kind of origin story for her, part of her origin, about why she collects all these weapons, because frankly, I just like the image of this thief having like a million knives and having to whip them out and do like the throwing star. I had a shock rom. I threw a shock rom into a guy. Just all these weird sub-weapons, all this Belmont shit. I've decided that she had a fateful encounter with an older warrior lady who also lived to be quite old. And her thing was that while she explored the River Kingdoms, she would keep memento weapons from people. She has this huge, this is my own story, this is not River Kingdoms, just kind of explaining what I'm going to say about Nova as a final point, is Clover stays with this old woman who is just like, oh, you're the famous Clover of Skull Country. That's my River Kingdom, Skull Country. Pretty similar, but I've built the world quite differently. It's more fantastical. Oh, you're Clover. Oh, well, I suppose it. Could you help an old woman test this shit out, basically? You know, or I think it actually is. She has a dog. I've decided there's a dog that Clover finds, and she's like, I really want this dog to get better. Like, I want this sick dog to get better. And she finds this cottage in the woods, and this woman is there. She's like, I'll help you take care of the dog, and while you're here, I have this chest of old weapons. If you could help me go through it, and to see which one of them are still sharp. You know, see how they work. So Clover spends a while. This very young Clover, like 13 or so. And she's like, fuck this old lady. I just want to go steal and eat and but I want this dog to get better. So they spend time together, and she goes through the weapons, and she starts to notice, like, man, like, this lady got around. Like, that's a fucking pear batarang. Like, you went to the pear county? Like, oh, yes, I remember the pear county. It was quite wonderful. And all these stories start to come out about the people that she fought alongside or met or saved or loved or whatever. And these weapons that she used to save them or, you know, fight along them. These memories of her adventure. And Clover begins to become very sentimental about weapons like that. And it's a very, it's a very dark, it's a very sentimental, but very dark and intense story. I think it's really kind of a tone setter, I suppose, for the stuff I'm writing. But basically, it ends with Clover getting a very special weapon to remember this lady by when she dies quite tragically and suddenly, as she was frankly expecting. Anyhow, Clover, I think, I guess I'm just gonna pull it into this River Kingdom story. I'm gonna say, basically, this is like one of her only friends that might still be there at Liberthane, or this is one of her first people she like took seriously. One of the first people that took her seriously. Nova was like, you know, her stalwart ally. They had this wonderful adventure and became like a community together. And one of the first like straight-laced losers that she ever respected. You know, she was a good woman, and she died just so randomly and tragically. And I think it's gonna be quite a destabilizing thing. So I'm trying to think of how I'm going to write that into this. I'm not trying to guilt the guy who did it. I don't even know if he's gonna play again, is honestly the thing. Am I gonna survive this? Okay, that's good. I don't even think he's gonna play again. It's whatever. It's whatever. It's not about the person who did it. It's about the fact that it happened when this was such a nice, lovely story I could talk about for however long I've been recording. It's the fact that it happened. I'm going to have some kind of memorial weapon for Nova. And I believe there's a rose insignia knife that Hunter mentioned that Nova got as like a going away present or something for this mission that I was talking about. So I think the next time Clover shows up, A, she's going to be pretty angsty, but B, I think she's going to have a rose pommel dagger that was from Nova. I think something that she wanted to leave behind or something maybe she got from her before. And I think this dagger with the rose on it is going to be the Nova one. I'm going to talk to Anne about it, but basically I'm going to put a fucking knife in Clover's hands, and it's going to be a special fucking knife. I did it. Yep. This is a fun game. I can't hate on this game anymore. That was super fun. I'm not even going to play Castlevania 3. I don't even have to play Castlevania 3. I could play Castlevania 3. What time is it? I think that's more than enough. Yeah, so I have told some of my Liberthane stories, and yeah, Nova will be remembered. The heck is this level? I don't remember this level. Well, have a good night. Treasure your loved ones.